So do you want to have, and Chuck, you want to come up as well? So if you do have a couple of questions, here, I'll give you back this. In case somebody does. And so anybody have a question for either one of them? Oh, way in the back here. Hold on. I'll give this to.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So the question is avoiding the lectins.
So lectins or hemagglutinins are these compounds in plants that can cause blood cells to clump together, and it can be really problematic. So if you ate raw kidney beans, like let's say you just sprouted kidney beans and you ate them on a salad, or you undercooked kidney beans. You were making a chili and you undercooked, dry kidney beans. You would get food poisoning-like symptoms. You would get terrible cramping, vomiting, and that's because of the lectins in the kidney beans. And kidney beans are quite high in lectins relative to, say, split peas or even chickpeas. So it depends on the legume. But lectins are essentially completely destroyed by cooking. And you don't even have to cook for that, a half an hour. Generally, you don't want to eat legumes unless they're well cooked anyway. They're, it's not something that you want al dente, like a pasta. You want to be able to, squeeze them on the top of your mouth and they would just about dissolve. So lectins, I know there's a book called The Plant Paradox by Stephen Grundy, and he claims that lectins are responsible for everything that ails us, and that we need to avoid them like the plague. Don't eat tomatoes, don't eat legumes, don't eat any of these foods that contain lectins. But the reality is very simple. To me, the acid test is to look at the longest lived, healthiest people on the planet. And you know about the blue zones. You've heard about the blue zones. And these are places where people not only live a long time, where they have more centenarians than anywhere else on the planet, but that at the latter stages of their lives, these people are still productive. They're still out gardening and climbing mountains. And have you watched that Blue Zones Netflix documentary? I mean, that lady, what was she, 105? And she was chopping wood when they arrived to interview her. That man from Japan who was doing a full lotus on his, with his raised up on his two hands, which most of us can't do in our prime. He was 96 or something. Anyway, it's amazing what they can do. And if you look at that population, there is one feature of the diet that is the common thread you can weave through every single blue zone. And that is that legumes are a dietary staple in every single blue zone population. And if lectins were such a big issue, and they're the reason for everything that ails us, would they be a staple in every single one of the longest lived people in the populations of all of those people? We have a meta-analysis of 2023 meta-analysis that looked at legume consumption and risk of death. And we have a 2023 meta-analysis for meat as well. And in every case, meat increases risk of death and disease, and in every case, legumes reduce risk of death and disease. They reduce risk of death 6% for every quarter cup consumed, or something like that. And so it's just, lectins are not the issue they're made out to be. We really don't have to worry about them if you prepare foods properly.
All right, thank you very much. Another question? I thought I saw a hand up there. And I'll repeat it. So.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is iron.
Mm-hmm. And where iron is concerned, it's amazing. If you look at actual iron intakes of people eating different dietary patterns, the people that actually consume the most iron are vegans. And usually usually averages around 20 to 22 milligrams compared to about 18 or so for omnivores and a little less for lacto-ovo-vegetarians who are getting more of their calories from milk. But the iron from plant foods is less available than the iron from blood, which is called heme iron. And heme iron is you absorb, probably 20 to 30%, whereas with plant iron, it might be 2 to 16% or something. However, there are many things you can do to improve the iron absorption in a plant-based diet. And one of the things you can do is to consume a really good source of vitamin C with the non-heme iron. It can increase the absorption of non-heme iron about 2 to 6 times. So making it a similar level of absorption to what you would see with meat. So having an orange with your breakfast, or having some strawberries on your salad, or some peppers. Peppers are really, especially colored peppers, are really rich in vitamin C. So having vitamin C rich foods, and people eating plant-based tend to do that. And the RDAs, the RDAs for iron, they say if you're eating plant-based or vegetarian or whatever, increase them by 1.8 times. But the reason they say that is they based it on a single study that used the worst diet possible. It was a super high phytate diet. They made it, as bad as it could be for iron absorption. It just wasn't ideal. So I really don't think we need to increase iron to that level, but we do need to prepare foods appropriately and have things that enhance iron absorption. Other things are carotenoid-rich foods enhance absorption. Garlic and onions enhance absorption. The biggest thing that interferes with iron absorption would be dairy products. So calcium interferes with iron absorption, but dairy products, it's like a double whammy because they're super low in iron and they also inhibit the absorption of iron. And a lot of people who go plant-based, one of the first things they do is replace meat with dairy. So instead of, meat and potatoes, they're having, pizza or lasagna or grilled cheese sandwiches, and they can end up iron deficient much more rapidly. And we do need to focus as well on higher iron foods within each food group. And so legumes are really the superstars, as pumpkin seeds are a great iron source as well, and a zinc source. So.
All right, thank you. Question for Chuck. He's just up here looking pretty. So.
It's cool. We're going to talk later, too.
Yep, we can talk later. We'll just take one more question because we have cookies back there. So, all right. We'll go up here because you haven't talked.
Yeah,
The
it
cans.
Definitely is a concern. So we're talking about some of the compounds that are in the lining of cans, and we hear about BPA and other things, and yes, these are all concerns. There are a lot of concerns about chemical contaminants in food, from mercury in fish to dioxins and products of oxidation, and products that are formed in food processing with high temperature cooking, but also microplastics are a huge issue now, and some of these compounds that have been used in preservation and lining cans and so forth. And you can get cans that are BPA free, for example, but they do tend to be more expensive. So to me, the best solution is to get an Instant Pot and cook beans from scratch, and then use the canned beans as just the occasional when you just came home from a vacation, you need to do something fast, or you've got unexpected company or whatever, but make it more occasional, and just do your own dried.
All right, just to kind of save on time, because we want to stay on time, we'll have them, you can talk to them directly, but they'll be back later to talk, and I know Chuck will as well. So thank you very much. Round of applause. Yes.